While no one from the telecommunications industry spoke tonight or even identified themselves, dozens of Encinitas residents spoke out, particularly when it came to the potential health impacts of these cell towers. But their concerns do not end there, ranging from the aesthetic impacts to the potential impacts on their property values. Hundreds packed Encinitas' community center Monday evening,
clearly an invasion of our constitutional rights,
voicing their passionate opposition to the installation of 5G cell towers in their neighborhoods.
The telecommunication industry is flying the plane as they are building it,
decrying the lack of scientific research into the human health effects these cell towers create.
The industry is rolling out the infrastructure in our front yards before any safety tests have been done on human beings. We are guinea pigs.
As medical and scientific professionals listed the possible health impacts created.
New research shows EMF could lead to heart attacks and strokes, Alzheimer's and neurological disease from brain degeneration.
While one speaker wore protective clothing, another showed off a special meter to gauge the radiation released.
But when I call on my phone, this thing gets pegged and I get headaches.
The President of the United States has signed a death warrant for millions of Americans by rolling out this 5G in every town, on every farm, they say. And there are no studies. There are no studies that say 5G is safe. They're just guessing because 5G hasn't rolled out yet. How can they say it's safe when it's 100 times faster, more lethal than its predecessor? Ladies and gentlemen, if you ever needed to see a red flag, it's the rollout of 5G without any type of scientific evidence backing it as safe. They just go on TV and say, of course it's safe. We're going to make billions of dollars. It's fucking safe, bitches. That's what they're saying. It is a scary world out there. And while he's signing the death warrants for millions of Americans, how do you know he didn't sign the death warrant on Epstein? That case has completely disappeared. Anybody remember that guy? You remember Jussie Smollett? You remember Hillary Clinton? How come they let these people go? They can start an investigation on Biden, they say, but they can't do one for Hillary or Obama is ISIS. And they don't even start it in America. They start it in Ukraine, of all places. We'll be getting into that in all the news. But everybody's concerned about the 5G. Cities are stopping it, ladies and gentlemen. Towns are stopping it. The video guy is fired. But nationally, there is no federal law prohibiting the rollout of 5G. They want it. They need it bad, just like their geoengineering, just like their pesticides and the like. They're spraying you like bugs. They can say they're spraying for mosquitoes. Breaking news, you are the mosquito. You are the cow grazing in the pasture, waiting for the slaughterhouse. Ladies and gentlemen, they're shaving 10 years off everybody's life, and they're accelerating their program. They're spraying like there's no tomorrow. They know something we don't. They're building these deep underground military bases, and there's all sorts of reports coming in. It's like they live on the television. It looks like a takeover from creatures from another world, trying to terraform this planet, trying to destroy humanity. Ladies and gentlemen,
while no one from the
you've seen the autism rates go up. You've seen life expectancy go down. You've seen, the Skull and Bones poison symbol on the fluoride they dump in the municipal water supply, and people aren't asking the right questions. Instead, they're sheepling around, pretending like everything is okay, hyper-normalized. We got to play a little bit of this audio here for you, ladies and gentlemen.
Imagine if we had a Democrat president and a Democrat Congress.
I probably identify more as a Democrat.
You would be fine with her using any bathroom she chooses.
That is correct.
I really believe the Republicans are just too crazy right. I mean, hey, I lived in New York City and Manhattan all my life.
There is something terribly wrong about this situation because you've got, millions of Republicans out there thinking that this guy is a Republican, but he's a lifelong Democrat, and he's like coming after your guns and destroying the Republican Party. Everybody's got a target on their back thanks to this guy. I mean, the Democrats couldn't have asked for anything better than Donald Trump for president. Now they're emboldened, emblazoned, motivated, ready for blood. And everybody on the other side, the Republican side, is just sitting at home thinking they won. And they're fighting for this guy, ladies and gentlemen, thinking that he's fighting for you. He's not fighting for you. And as much as you hate the Democrats and the libtards and, you know, the Luciferians out there, unfortunately, the guy in the White House right now isn't on your side. He's 666 Fifth Avenue. They're all on the dark side of the force. You've seen the tweets, haven't you? We're not talking about president's tweets, mind you. The force, the, you know, the Star Wars troopers, the stormtroopers tweet, ladies and gentlemen. Many questions we could be asking, but the evidence is overwhelming. We're not dealing with anything new in politics. We're not dealing with, you know, some kind of revolution or anything like that. We're dealing with the same Skull and Bones franchise in office, and they're just pretending to be at each other's throats, like a wrestling match, you know, like the WWE. Speaking of the 5G out there, you really want to know what you're getting dosed with. We've compared the meters. We found the EMF 390 to be the best, only 109. Check it out on our website, stfnreport.com. You know, the evidence is overwhelming as far as cancer clusters around these death towers. That's why we say that this president has signed a death warrant for millions of Americans by rolling this shit out. And you're seeing it everywhere. It's coming to a neighborhood near you. And, you know, thanks to current federal regulations, you can't cite health concerns as a reason to stop these things from going up. You know, there's cancer clusters all around them. And if you point to that, then automatically you can be sued. No kidding. Insurance companies have totally dropped, you know, this type of radiation from their coverage. They know it causes cancer. The insurance companies have totally bailed out. You've got countries like Switzerland and Belgium saying no to 5G, ladies and gentlemen. And, you know, they obviously know something that we don't. Our food is illegal in most other countries. There's something terribly wrong with the situation out there right now. And it's an emergency. It truly is an emergency. And this administration is nowhere to be found when it comes to the eugenics programs. And, you know, if you want to trust the plan, trust the scam, then why don't you go tell it to Julian Assange? In 2016, this guy was like, oh, I love the WikiLeaks. And now he's like, lock Assange up. Not lock Hillary up, lock Assange up. He's linked to Epstein. He's linked to the Clintons. It wasn't the Hoover building that locked up Epstein. It was, you know, the New York prosecution out there, the Southern District of New York out there, that brought up these charges, you know, as part of their witch hunt. Now, obviously, you know, nobody wants to align with the libtards or have anything to do with them when it comes to anything out there for the most part. But, you know, the evidence is rather overwhelming that we're dealing with a corrupt administration. As much as you love the rhetoric, as much as you love the act like it was The Apprentice, because that's what it looks like out there with all these people being booted out of the White House, you know, it's like The Apprentice. But as much as you might like this episode of The Apprentice, it doesn't change the facts of the case. And, you know, they're obviously hiding something. They're hiding a lot of things. You know, you got the Acosta situation, the former pedophile prosecutor in the Epstein case that lands a job in the administration. You know, look, everybody's connected to this. They wanted to bury the story, and they buried the guy. Ladies and gentlemen, another Andrew Breitbart, another Seth Rich. There's just too many of those in our country. They're locking up the whistleblowers. Everybody should be concerned. They're, you know, they're gassing, you know, the planet. They're gassing you. They're dosing you. They're sexualizing your kids. I mean, these people, you know, are like a runaway train. But the truth is actually scarier than that. The truth is stranger than fiction, ladies and gentlemen. And it turns out that all of these people from Hollywood to Washington, D.C. are cult members, part of this like Luciferian occult literally, that molests children and eats, body parts, Soylent Green. It's coming to a McDonald's near you. Have no doubt about it. They're finding the human DNA as we speak. Literally. It is, an upside down world where these people live. And they want to export it everywhere. They want to make it, the new normal in America. You've seen the San Francisco. You've seen, the Skid Row. They want to make that, the American dream, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're against that, then you're a hater. If you're against them grooming children, you're a hater. If you're against them, erecting death towers, you're a hater and a Russian, ladies and gentlemen. And if you ask too many questions, then, you must be a racist. And that's just, the easy way for them to, basically skirt the question, deflect, attention away from themselves and get away with their crimes. And they've been doing this, repeatedly, over the decades, over the generations, over the centuries, to be quite honest. There's nothing new in politics. There's nothing new under the sun. But what people really need to understand is that they're not talking about politics out there. They're talking about religion. The television has become a 24/7 infomercial for the dark side, for the Luciferian ideologies, for the Santa Claus, the Satan Claus, ladies and gentlemen. That is at the core of everything you see in the movies, in music, on television. They're pushing, they're pushing the Luciferian religion out there. It's the 6 o'clock news on Channel 6. It's, Desperate Housewives. It's, murdering children and calling it a choice, right? There's many ways that they spin their story, but it is a cult of death. They are anti-life and they are anti-creation. And, they're trying to destroy the planet. And we were talking, earlier about how it looks like, the movie They Live out there, like some sort of takeover from another world. And that's exactly what the Bible tells us, is that we're not alone. And there's something, going on. It's not just about a struggle of flesh and blood out there. We're dealing with, something much grander than that. And the essence of evil in this world, is basically the secular system, the secular physical world, everything that you find within the city limits, everything you find in the Matrix. And, ironic as this might sound, they're trying to plug you into the Matrix as we speak. They're experimenting, with the Neuralink. If you haven't seen that particular presentation from Elon Musk, you should probably check that out. But not only physically plug you into the Matrix, but they're training you for it right now with the phones and the internet, and people are just glued to their devices. Emphasis on DEV, devices, like the devil bitches, like the beast system. And, this is part of their plan to destroy humanity and to give birth to an abomination, to say the least. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, this president has signed a death warrant on pretty much all Americans. You want to talk about treason, bitches? This one is as deep as it gets. He's green-lighted the death towers in every neighborhood, on every farm in America. Everybody is now going to, be slow killed by the system, even more so than before. And of course, the death towers just accelerate and accentuate all of the other death programs that are out there: the fluoride, the pesticides, the GMOs, the vaccines, quite literally. And not only that, but these death towers, this EMF radiation, compromises your immune system and speeds up aging. And it's just bad news no matter how you look at it. And there's no such thing as free in this world. And if you're able to speak on the phone, wirelessly, conveniently, you can bet that there's some side effects, to say the least. It's like everything else. There is no free. The car, puts out quite a bit of pollution. If you just sit in your garage with the car, you'll figure out how lethal that shit is. All right. And so there is no such thing as free in this world, and it all has, some kind of side effect, some kind of blowback for the most part, as far as, human innovation is concerned. And you really have to wonder where all of this stuff comes from. It's so dark-sided. When you think of the oil industry, fossil fuels, previously living materials, it's a liquid graveyard that they're pumping from the ground, and they're making everything with it. They're pumping death from the ground, and they're producing even more death with it. It's just like, black magic, if you will, in your face, spell casting, like, the music out there, like the songs out there. It's all got this dark-sided, theme to it, like Halloween 24/7 on the television, pushing the seven deadly sins, like, pride and envy. Take your selfie, put it on Instagram, and the like. And of course, that's at the core of many of the crimes we see out there. The devil and its minions have been allowed to condition humanity for the past few generations. We've gone from the happy days, we've gone from Leave It to Beaver, Mr. Ed, to whatever it is out there today. And it looks like, the zombie apocalypse in most towns, the drug crisis, which is also part of the eugenics program, is just off the hook. And, the entire country has been ravaged, not only by drugs, but by Luciferian propaganda from the television and from, the public schools, to say the least. And, certainly as, a real Christian in the White House, you'd think that these would have been like the number one priorities to take care of. Take care of all of the anti-life eugenics programs that are out there. But instead, they're endorsing them. They're endorsing them. Wake up out there. You went back to sleep after the 2016 election. I guarantee it. This administration has tripled immigration. They didn't build a single mile of wall up to the middle of this year. After 3 years, and they were like, yeah, we did it. Yeah, we did it. No, they didn't. Immigration has tripled. All of us are now targets like never before. We're all, haters according to the mainstream news, and, we've basically become the new Jews in the USSA. That is thanks to Trump. No pushback on that and the like. Just empty words, just rhetoric, and absolutely nothing concrete. Today they were signing some kind of like Medicare, Medicaid package, and it's just ironic. They're like, yeah, we'll cover you as long as you're here, and they're rolling out the eugenics, twice as fast as before. You know what I mean? So they make you believe like you've got a chance, like when you go to the casino, and what's one of Trump's big businesses? The casino. The house always wins because it's a rigged fucking system out there. Lifelong Democrat, 12 years on NBC, doing The Apprentice in the White House. It's the WWE, basically on TV, and that's politics today. That's easy as can be. In any case, this administration has failed on censorship, failed on free speech, failed, in many different regards. Instead of breaking up big tech, they're bringing them into the White House to expand their surveillance programs, right? The LifeLog, the Zuckerberg at the White House, and they're like, now they're best friends, while the rest of us are just off the fucking air. How many channels have we had banned for what? And now they blatantly say like hate speech, like on the stuff that they take down. Do we sound like haters over here? You know what I mean? So, pointing out the truth has become a crime. And, they want to talk about Trump derangement syndrome. What they really have is truth derangement syndrome. The darkness can't stand the light. They can't stand the truth, so they got to shut it down. That's, that's the least we can say about that. What else have they done? Well, of course, they sent Assange to prison. They let Hillary go, Obama go, everybody at the FBI, they let them go, right? They've recused themselves from the Epstein thing, took him out too, and the like. And obviously, you know, they're starting little wars that could turn into big wars. You know, many wars have been fought over embargoes and, you know, things of a financial nature. And of course, you know, there's plenty of that going on. And so while, you know, perhaps it is the art of the deal, right now it looks like the fucking Titanic is sinking. And they've had ample opportunity to, you know, wipe out this evil. In the first 2 years, they had a supermajority. They could have done something. They just pissed it all away on purpose. On purpose. It's like a rigged fight. You know, when one of them is pulling punches, that's exactly what they've done. Right? It's just like, it's a hardcore infiltration here. We're looking at a Judas in disguise. Have no doubt about it, ladies and gentlemen. As far as the Ukraine thing is concerned, right now they're talking about, oh, well, you know, the whistleblower met with Adam Schiff before they actually put out the report. And so we're now getting reports that Adam Schiff was meeting with President Trump before they decided to withhold nearly $500 million in, you know, military assistance to the Ukrainians. And before Schiff met with Giuliani before he went on air to basically admit that they were running, you know, personal gain investigations. And I think, like, the big red flag here, above all else, is that instead of just going through, you know, the various agencies, and there's plenty of them out there that could have been, you know, involved with this investigation. Instead of sending the FBI or, you know, the NSA or the State Department or, you know, some kind of, you know, Defense Department envoy or something, they're getting, like, you know, the personal attorneys involved. Not an official person, but an unofficial person. And that means, you know, that means illegal, basically. And we saw them do this quite readily with, you know, the Stormy Daniels and the other, you know, hookers that they paid off. They would send the personal attorney there to do the dirty work. That's how it's done, you know, in the upscale world. You send your lawyer out there with a non-disclosure agreement and a payoff, and you do it through a third person, through a proxy, and it's just done, right? Hardly any witnesses. Everybody's got to shut up, according to the documents. And look, I think it's pretty bad. Now, obviously, you know, the idea that Biden is corrupt and the like isn't anything new. All of these people are corrupt. But I think what's important to focus on right now is on the dreamers out there. Not the people trying to get into this country, but the people that are watching the television believing that this dream is real. This is part of the Matrix, ladies and gentlemen. And what they're selling you on TV is a lie from both sides. And sometimes they'll use, you know, a real important subject as an attention grabber, like, you know, whatever it might be. Taxes, you know, abortion, the environment. You know, they'll invoke these types of ideas like a Trojan horse to get, you know, through your wall, through your defenses, through your logic, and to basically, you know, get you to support their overall strategy, which is to basically, you know, kill off as many people as they can. Now, when you look at, you know, the libtards in the big cities, and you see that most of the eugenics is over there, you might be thinking to yourself, well, why not, you know, support this eugenics program, you know? And I suppose, you know, the best thing to say here is that at first they came for the libtards, at first they came for the journalists, at first they came for the truthers, at first they came for the patriots, but then they start coming for everybody else, because that's the nature of these type of people. They're like serial killers. They're like a Jonestown cult. They want to kill everybody. They want to watch the world burn. It's the very nature of this type of, person. That's their profile. That's what they do. And look, just, remaining silent about this is like being as complicit or as guilty as they are. We certainly can't just sit idly by as they assimilate humanity, and dose the masses. There's something, wrong about that. And I think that's really where the conversation is these days. It's not about Ukraine. It's not about Russia. It's not about, these other countries, the boogeymen out there, or even these, politicians on TV. It's not about that. It's about these Luciferians, out there trying to rape children and, basically mass murder, the country and the world. So, it's time for people to prioritize here a little bit. And look, they might have a point on television. They always try to make a point on television. They always try to keep it entertaining. That's their job. That's how they get paid. But at the end of the day, it's really small potatoes compared to the big picture. It's literally the pages of the Bible playing out before your very eyes. You've got these cult members out there, basically worshiping the devil on television, telling you how you should get the chip, the mark of the beast. You just couldn't make this up, right? And we're all watching it. We're all, agreeing with, agreeing with, to the point that, this is definitely going on. Now the question is, what do we do about it? And I think that in this opening video, if we can bring that up, you saw people, show up at city council, and you saw them basically all hold up little signs, stop 5G. They made the news. And now, there's a chance that their city will be spared this eugenics program. And I think we should be doing this on each and every issue, from vaccines to fluoride to, you name it, what they're teaching children, etc. And we should just, start blocking them at every opportunity, at every door. And this can only really happen at the grassroots level. If you send, some kind of shill emissary to Washington, D.C., the only thing you can expect is that they are going to sell you out. That is their job. That's what they were selected to do. And so the only way that you can really make a difference is by creating, a safe town for your community. And, trust me, most people out there in your town are concerned about, a lot of these issues. And one by one, you can certainly, take these eugenics programs out, from the abortion clinics to the death towers to the mandated vaccines and the like. There's a chance that you can take all of these out one by one, and start with one. I think 5G right now is our best chance, because nobody likes these death towers at all. Doesn't matter, what your political affiliation is. You don't want a death tower in your backyard. And when you're seeing other countries ban this stuff, and we're like gung-ho, let's go, you better be asking questions out there. And you can make a difference just by starting a silent protest in front of a Verizon store or an AT&T store, or in front of City Hall. Just show up with a little sign and stop 5G and say nothing, right where people are walking in and out, and last as long as you can. There's certainly nothing disorderly about holding up a little sign, and maybe at first people will think you're begging for money, but then they'll realize, oh shit, yeah, no, that's a wonderful idea, and they're gonna come back like Fight Club, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden, maybe the first couple of weeks, it'll just be you, but then you'll have a couple more and a couple more, and all of a sudden, you're heading to City Hall with a news crew, with you. And now you've become a hero in your town. You've made a bunch of friends, and you're ready for the next thing. You're ready to, stop GMOs. You're ready to stop pesticides. You're ready to stop vaccines in your town. You're ready to pull the fluoride. I think that the next thing would be the fluoride. Because I think everybody can agree that we don't need fluoride in the water anymore. We got it in the toothpaste. And if you don't brush your teeth, well, that's your fucking problem. You know what I mean? So, we're not, the government shouldn't be there to make sure that everybody wipes properly. As nice as that would be, that's really just not their purview just yet. But, they'll make it their purview. They'll tell you how much toilet paper you can use before long and how many times you can flush the toilet. Their reach will be without end if we let it. And it certainly wasn't, the way the framers wanted it to be. They put up distinct lines between federal and state powers and the like. They didn't want a monarchy. They didn't want, a king for our country. And that's what the presidency has become, a dictatorship. It's, out of control. And, this president has actually been really tame in terms of wielding, the throne. Because other administrations, man, they were just sending, hundreds of thousands of people to their deaths in foreign wars that were just completely, unjustified. The evidence was fabricated. And it's just, it calls into question the entire establishment. And, we got confirmation of that with this, attempted coup by the FBI. I mean, whatever's going on with this federal government, it's obviously beyond its purview. This wasn't, this isn't America anymore. It's morphing into something else. And I think people need to, fight for it, starting with their communities. Get everybody back on the same page. You know what I mean? Because it's totally out of control. You look at people these days, they're always on their phones. They're total zombies. It's just like not the same world. If you grew up before, 2000, you're lucky. You're lucky because, you didn't have to deal with all of this, shit like today. But, people today, they never knew the pre-9/11 world. They never knew the free world. They never went out without a smartphone. They never went out with their friends, to the bar and to the clubs without a phone or to a concert or wherever. You know what I mean? They were actually, forced to talk to each other like people have done, throughout the entire history of humanity. And now people are just like totally isolated in their own little worlds, and it's just, one step closer to plugging into the matrix. Please support our broadcast at patreon.com/STF News. We've been banned, so many times it's not even funny. But while, we were out there, we planted a ton of seeds, and we have what it takes to, do what we do best, ladies and gentlemen. So support our show, patreon.com/STF News. If you want to pick up an EMF 390 or check out what that's all about, check out our website, stfnreport.com. You'll always find our videos there, even if, the channel you're subscribed to gets taken down. And, they never send you a notification when that happens. So people, don't even realize that it has happened for the most part. That's how these people operate. Silent weapons, censorship, shadow banning, and the like. And this president, just for the most part, when it comes to these types of issues, has been a total failure, which is, the biggest red flag of all. You want to talk about, jobs, that's one thing. You want to talk about the secular world, that's one thing. But in terms of fighting this beast system, in terms of fighting this, Luciferian agenda, what have you done for us lately, Mr. Trump? Till the next time, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. Smiling at us. Till the next time. If you're listening to this, you are the resistance.